US relations, we can also talk about the potential 51st state in the north. Do you think with Trudeau out?
You seriously don't want me to comment on that?
No,
there is a saying, I don't know whether I should, but I think I will. There's a thing going around on social media. It said, how do you term the resignation of a prime minister? So somebody said Khali, Khali, then dash Stan, Stan. So, I mean, there's a lot of humor going on.
Now, but do you see that a reset is now possible between India and Canada?
I am not going to fall in the trap of commenting on anyone's desire to annex another country's state or annex a country or the other way around. Look, please, there are levels at which these statements are made. And I think in this case, I don't want to get into it, but the Canadian Foreign Minister has given a response. I don't want to get into it.
I said it in jest, but do you see
now... Of course
you're
saying it in jest, and I'm also responding in jest.
Now, when you see his resignation, do you think now the time is right for a reset in India-Canada ties?
No, again, these are questions best asked to Mr. Jaishankar, because all I can tell you is, I was minister in waiting when he came here. This was a long back.
Justin Trudeau. You were the minister in waiting in that very Bharati kind of...
Yeah, Bharati. I was luckily I wasn't part of the fancy dress Bharat elsewhere, but PM sent me to Amritsar. So it was me and it was Navjot Sidhu from the other side. So both of us spent several hours with him then. And PM hosted a lunch for the visiting Prime Minister. And I happened to be on a table with several other people there. I was amazed, Ishan, at the level of delusion and delusional politics. The name of one of my books also. But about these guys, one guy sits there very happy to say, I went to Canada, I got a good education, and I became a minister. So I was also in one of my moods. I said, I stayed in India, I got a good education, I also became a minister. Now what is the point? What is the point? There was another guy there, a very nice guy. He was defense minister, but he was a sergeant or a corporal in the army. I mean, the level, so they had, look, I shouldn't say anything about the electoral politics of another country, but some of the things those guys were doing, they're going to harm our people, the people who went there looking for jobs. You understand? That whole process is now into severe disequilibrium. All I can say to my young friends is, please, Indian economy is rising exponentially. That economy is falling. So all this thing about in my village areas, Canada ja rahe hain ji. And all these in-between agencies which, facilitate going to Canada. I mean, this is it.
But it's the community also, sir. The Sikh community also in Canada. It needs to rethink. It's my opinion.
But don't judge the whole community by the actions of few.
What I'm saying is that some of them are falling prey for it, because what is happening is these students go. We had people here, experts here, who spoke about it on the podcast. That children go from here. And they go to these universities which are not really universities. They 100%. Are shops.
No, it's more serious than that.
Yeah.
What happens is that they need you to go there, and then they don't want to teach you anything. But maybe if you get a job you get a driving license and a job as a truck driver, you earn a lot of money.
But that's
if you're a BA
harmless,
and MA,
harmless thing as a truck driver.
Just harmless.
They become mules, drug mules.
I'm coming to that. But that's only a few guys, etc. But then there are there's an infiltration of certain other elements. Again, I don't want to dwell too much into it. I've studied in some detail. You get involved with the underworld nexus between people smuggling, drugs, and other kinds of violence. So, I mean, look, I spent 39 years in the Foreign Service. I've lived in capitals which have large Indian, or the countries, capitals of countries with large Indian population, the UK, okay, the United States. I lived in New York, not in DC. But I used to tell my community leaders even then, I said, don't judge people merely, Sanoji bada arman hai, and they were looking at the size of somebody's beard or something. I said, no, the more important thing is you don't conduct your religious activities merely out of this kind of sentiment. You have to make sure the kids get good education,
Yeah.
that this pub culture comes under control. Otherwise, you've been into the UK. Anji, aao ji glassy.
Yeah.
And it becomes a pervading culture.
Yeah.
Now, the Gurudwara at least has that benefit. At least the Gurudwara will teach you basic egalitarian values, langar, kirtan, etc. Seva. But the shift from the Gurudwara into the pub culture, that is the main problem. So you've got some people have done very well. They took advantage of the good education there.
So,
but if you're going to go there, not for taking the advantage, because you know what they say, you want to go and buy property, it's location. You want to develop a country, it's education. Even for families. Families which started at very little, but they focused on education, look where they've risen. So this is where I think some mismatch has taken place in the community.
do subscribe to the ANI Clips channel to get shorter versions of this podcast. Click here to watch the full episode.